Why do people hate Hublot? Reasons. They have their reasons and they really hate them, so let's talk about it. But first of all, don't take anything I say too seriously. I'm just a nerd. I'm not an expert. So if you want to chat to me about different things, put a thingy in the comments and let's have a chat. I'm wearing my new Seiko Prospex GMT on a Bark and Jack NATO, so we love it. We love it. Double pass NATO because it's lovely. So, why do people hate Hublot? Yeah, that's a contentious question. So, we made a video when we first started the channel about why people shouldn't hate Hublot. Why Hublot's good. Why it's good. And we made a lot of good points. And some people actually sent us messages and were like, you know, I agree. Hublot gets too much hate unfairly. But we promised, didn't we, Tez? We promised, and we are delivering.
Even when we thought, do we really need to do this? You said, yes, we promised.
We promised to do a video on why Hublot beeping sucks. Beeping sucks. I started saying a no word, and I saw Tezzy boy shaking his fingies like no, George. Let's actually talk about why Hublot sucks. The biggest thing people say about Hublot that I see is the unoriginal design. One of the biggest complaints about at least their early watches is, in particular, is that they look very similar. The AP Royal Oak. They're both inspired by a porthole on a ship. Whether that's a fair piece of criticism, given that Hublot literally means porthole in French, is unrelated. That's why they dislike the first generation Hublots, because they look a bit Royal Oaky and it's seen as unoriginal. Cool. That's fair enough. Part of the reason people hate Hublot is the things that they associate themselves with and the people. What do I mean by that? Good question. If one looks at the sports that Rolex sponsors and associates itself with, for example, you will find every Grand Slam tennis tournament. Classy sports, you know? If one looks at the sports that Hublot associates itself with, they're not seen as the most highbrow by a large amount of the traditional watch enthusiast community, which it's no secret, if your passion is spending money on Patek Philippe's, Vacheron Constantine's, all of these things, and you're a bit old money, you're gonna look down on the Premier League football crowd, as the old money always do look down on the more nouveau riche, we'll say. So, essentially what I'm trying to say is Hublot took marketing in a very different direction to the rest of the watch industry. They didn't go for fancy, smancy, pantsy sports and the motor racing. They went, you know what? We want to appeal to normal people. And we're going to go for the football, because what's more popular than football? What's going to get more eyes on their brand than football? Get them on the wrists of footballers. Marketed the football. That was a bloody good shout, Hublot, and I can't deny that that was a very good idea, because it's worked. And boxing. If you look at the people who've worn Hublots, though, that's something else people dislike about Hublot. The famous people that wear Hublot, the first names that stick into your head, because Ed Sheeran wears one, and you can't exactly call him loud and brash, really, can you? He's not loud and brash. He's got a Hublot. God, it's called the Skull Bang, but that's a separate video. You think of Floyd Mayweather. You think of Premier League footballers and big Bentleys and Wags, and yeah, it's not good. But Floyd Mayweather in particular doesn't portray an image of class. I don't think that's a contentious statement, do you?
Absolutely not.
Floyd Mayweather's a asshole.
Great boxer. Terrible dress sense.
Amazing boxer, and I said that in our video about him. He is one of the best boxers of all time, and he earned all of his money. He just spends it like a complete and utter prat. He's essentially a brand ambassador. Every single fight he was wearing Hublot on his shorts. He's made so many videos about his Hublot collection. He's their brand ambassador, and when you're a watch purist, I don't like that term, but a watch purist, someone who enjoys traditional watch companies, you look at that and you just go, ew, disgusting. Don't you, Terry? Now let's hippity hop back to the copying, okay? Because there's a brand which has come along recently that's taken the Hublot idea, okay, of we're gonna market to the nouveau riche, to the new rich, and we're gonna market to the different sports. We're gonna go very loud and brash with our designs, but they're doing it better than Hublot. They've captured a whole other market, and that's Richard Mille. I think Hublot's a bit jealous of Richard Mille, actually, because they've not only captured the nouveau riche market, everyone in the watch industry, even purists, and I do want to do the thingy every time I say that, even purists like Richard Mille now. For example, you see one on the wrist of Rafael Nadal. There's a Nadal special edition, gets worn during the tennis. Hublot could only really dream of being associated with those traditional watch company stomping grounds. That's Rolex territory. That's Tag Heuer territory. I think Hublot's a bit jealous of that. And I don't think the criticism for Hublot making a design similar to AP is fair, because they both look like a porthole. But I absolutely think criticizing Hublot for making a Richard Mille rip-off is fair, in the spirit of the Big Bang. Hublot, what were you thinking? It's this, like, you've taken the idea of a Richard Mille, stripped out anything that was nice about it, and just made a gopping thing that looks a bit like a Richard Mille. Stop, okay? Stop making that watch. It's a Richard Mille, but doesn't have any of the cool engineering. Just stop. Okay? Good? Thank you. And honestly, I'm not even going to talk about the fact that their idea for making an expensive luxury watch, like tens and tens of thousands of pounds, is right. We're gonna make the same watch as this £10,000 model or £20,000 model. We're just gonna cover it in rainbow diamonds. We're just gonna make all of our watches, make sure it look like a unicorn has crapped diamonds on them. Okay, that's what we're gonna do, and that's the aesthetic we're going to appeal to. There's zero class or design about them. I don't mind if they want to make one or two watches about that, but when that's their entire upper echelon product catalog, or hey, we're just gonna make it in sapphire. One last point, which I want to talk about: the entire entry-level catalog of Hublot's watches costs about like £8,000-9,000. They use $300 movements. They use the same movements you can find in an Oris at like $2,000. What's going on with that, Hublot? Apparently you make some changes to it, fiddle with it a bit, but you're licensing a Solita movement in a $9,000 watch. I don't really think I need to say more than that. My last video was very heartfelt about why Hublot doesn't completely suck. They've made a lot of really cool things and a lot of innovations and a lot of changes in the watch market. But this video is also very heartfelt about my frustrations with what has been and what could be a really cool brand. Just look at Zenith. Just look at some of the things Tag Heuer are doing. I'm not the biggest fan of Tag Heuer, but they are making some really cool watches. Just Hublot, get your head out your ass, do some value for money. Oh Christ! On your bezels, line up the screws, okay? It's a £10,000 watch. Line up the screws like a Royal Oak. If I can get a £100 Casio G-Shock mod kit off Alibaba.com, which has lined up screws, pretty sure you can do it on a £10,000 watch. You don't line up the screws on any of your watches. Please think about your build quality and QC and just the small details. That's the thing that you need to think about, okay? Line up the screws. It'll elevate the entire experience. and use semi-decent movements. Use a bloody zenith movement if you need to. Just ask them nicely. Walk across the hall at LVMH. Go, Zenith, can I use your defy movement in my £9,000 watch? I'm sure they'll say yes. Just get Bernard Arnold to slap them, and I'm sure they'll say yes.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother. Preach to the star. Do you agree? Did I say anything that's wrong? Do you disagree with me? If so, come at me. Start a fight in the No, start a discussion in the comments. And I think there's only one thing left to say. And Terry, what's that?
Watch yourself.
Watch yourselves. Yes, thank you.